And we're live. Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 64. This is the one about JKD and the art of self-analysis and self-reflection. So, as you guys are logging in, you know the deal. If you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button. If I say anything that you agree with, find insightful or what have you, and continue to hit the like button as we progress, and then Facebook will assign algorithmic relevance to what we're doing. All right, so the origin story for today's broadcast title. You know, sometimes I ask myself, why do I come up with these esoteric topics that can sometimes be difficult to effectively communicate, right? But then I realized if it was easy to do, then everybody would be doing it, right? So the analysis part is always on my mind, because every week in class I'm constantly looking at how I'm doing things in preparing for, you know, lesson plans for private clients and lesson plans for my little group. Hey Dusty, thanks for logging in. Right, Dusty, please go ahead and say where you're logging in from, so that Facebook knows that we get people from all over the place. The reflection part of today's title, that actually, it comes from something private that happened, but what it did was it caused me to rethink one of my long-held beliefs, right? So that's for Simon is just logging in, so I was just giving everybody the background on the origin story for today's title. All right, so the art of analysis and reflection, and the JKD look at it. I imagine that everybody would agree that one of the best JKD analysis stories is Bruce Lee's post-fight look at what happened with Wong Jack Man, at least as far as that story is told, right? So in everybody's favorite JKD book, I'm kidding, right? But on page 40 of the Art and Philosophy book, it says, all that changed when he, referring to Bruce Lee, when he started to dissect the fight and realized that his rather lackluster performance was due in large measure to his thick-headed adherence to a style which his opponent's lawhorn techniques were impervious to, right? And then there's only two books that I'm referring to today. And then in Letters of the Dragon, on page 44, in a February 1965 letter to Taki Kimura, Bruce Lee writes, "My mind is made up to start a system of my own. I mean a system of totality, embracing all but yet guided with simplicity. It will concentrate on the root of things, rhythm, timing, distance, and embrace the 5 ways of attack. Wing Chun is the starting point, etc., etc." So one of the points I'm trying to make here is that, so the fight with Wong Jack Man is reputed to have taken place in '64. Bruce Lee does his post-fight analysis, and then in early 1965 says to Taki Kimura that he's going to have his own system made up, right? But in about 4 years, because now this is a January 1969, hey Sifu Randy, hey Gunnar, in a 69 letter to William Chung, his Wing Chun senior, in one paragraph, here's what Bruce Lee writes: "My achievement in the martial arts is most satisfying, and the word Chinese has come a long way in the circle of martial art." But then in the next paragraph, he complains somewhat, "William, I have lost faith in the Chinese classical arts, though I still call mine Chinese, because basically all styles are products of land swimming, even the Wing Chun school." So because we're talking about analysis and reflection, I think that we you know, most of us in the JKD world hold Bruce Lee as the epitome of what we're trying to achieve, to certain aspect. So I'm no Bruce Lee historian like a Richard Torres or what have you, but it certainly seems to me that in addition to the analysis, Bruce Lee also engaged in the necessary reflection while on the path to his ultimate vehicle of expression, which he the term that he coined was Jeet Kune Do. And so that's one of my points for today's broadcast. You can do all the analyzing that you want, but if you don't add the reflection part, then it may or may not get you anywhere, especially where it is that you were trying to get to. You know, I was watching Cass Magda's World of Martial Arts interview. Shout out to Mick, Tully, and the guys at World of Martial Arts. So I was watching his interview on the YouTube, and it reminded me of a different interview, which I don't think is public, but people, I'm one of the people who has this interview, and this is from 1984 or 85, and they were talking about the Kali, and Cass said something like, Kali is a very intuitive art, but to try to teach someone his own intuition is not an easy thing, right? Now, I know some people have an issue anytime that we're talking Jeet Kune Do and we bring up the word Kali, you know, because that's like some kind of a no-no because you're moving away from Bruce Lee's art or whatever, right? To that, I always ask, well, what then does it mean when it's said that Jeet Kune Do uses always and but is confined by none, right? But anyhow, that's a different topic for a different day, right? So back to analysis and reflection. I tell my students all the time that there's levels and layers to this Jeet Kune Do thing, right? There's the taking, for example, of Bruce Lee's principles and philosophies as is. You know, like when you buy a car as is, a used car as is, right? You can take Bruce Lee's principles and philosophies and work with them as is. And then there's the taking of his principles and philosophies and working with them in a way that you, in effect, become a philosopher in your own right. Okay? In my analysis of some of the factors surrounding Jeet Kune Do, for example, right? One of the things that I see is the constant presence of the yin-yang. So for example, right, it seems to me that Taki Kimura's and Dan Inosanto's personalities are a little bit similar, as in perhaps a little bit self-effacing, a little bit reticent, right? And so maybe they needed a gregarious personality like Bruce Lee to come along and break them out of their respective shells a little bit, right? But then maybe Bruce Lee himself needed two older, wiser gentlemen, right, to influence him in his self-analysis and reflection, right? Okay, so that's it for today. Short, I don't know if sweet, right? You guys will have to comment on that. But what I want to do, I wanted to end with 3 quotes from the back pages of the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, right? So one of them says, self-knowledge is the basis of Jeet Kune Do because it is effective not only for the individual's martial art, but also for his life as a human being, right? Another one says, learning Jeet Kune Do is not a matter of seeking knowledge or accumulating stylized pattern, but is discovering the cause of ignorance. And then the last one is, the deluded mind is the mind effectively burdened by intellect. Thus, it cannot move without stopping and reflecting on itself. This obstructs its native fluidity, right? So, I hope you got all that, right? Like I said at the beginning, you know, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to communicate these esoteric ideas, right? So, that's it for today. Feel free, you know, watch it again. Feel free to share, like, comment, dislike, ask me questions if you want. I'll review everything after posting. Sign up for notifications for when we go live here on Facebook and when we put the edited stuff up on the YouTube. ILoveJeetKuneDo.com, the JKD Quick Skills Series Volume 1 available. Coming up on Friday the 15th, we're doing a part 2 with Richard Torres. We're going to focus a little bit on the business aspects of Jeet Kune Do, right? Kurt, I think it's the settings when I do the broadcast on the group page that it won't allow anybody to share. Or maybe it's your settings, I'm not sure. But that's why you can always go to the YouTube for the JKD Dialogues channel, and you can find it there, and you can share it from there, Kurt. Okay, right? So yeah, Friday at 3 p.m. I'm pretty sure. We'll talk again with Richard Torres, and I think that's it, right? Okay, so today is a beige, brown, or pink day. So there's the shirt, right? And I'll see you back here next week, same time, same JKD channel for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.